How can you use a very cool looking mega sports camp with your kids' ministry to make an impact in your community for Jesus? We'll talk about it today. Hey, ministry leader, welcome to Your Visuals Matter. This podcast is all about helping you up your visual media game at your church or ministry. If you like our podcast, please subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. Also want to thank Outreach for sponsoring this season's shows. Great people over there. They have great digital mailing tools and banners and signs. All your printing needs can be taken care of over there at outreach.com. All right, we are spending the next few weeks doing case studies with ministries and churches on how they are crafting custom media content and the impact that it's making in their community. This week, a case study on the mega sports camp curriculum from Assemblies of God. Let's jump in. Hey guys, I want to let you know about a great new resource from our friends at Outreach. The new invitation station provides your church with an easy way to encourage and equip your members to invite their friends and neighbors to church. The stations include a sleek black metal sign holder stand, an eye-catching 2x3 sign with messages like invite a friend or be the church, and 4 acrylic card holders that you can adhere to the sign and fill with invitation cards, all for only $147. Check them out today at outreach.com/invitation stations. That's outreach.com/invitation stations. Hey guys, my guest today is my friend John Hales. John is the Children's Ministry Discipleship Coordinator at the Assemblies of God National Office. John works with the Bible Engagement Project curriculum, as well as Mega Sports Camp and other projects to reach the next generation for Jesus. With Mega Sports Camp, they have updated the look and feel of it. They've added lots of new media elements to help churches promote it to their communities. I talked with John all about why they have decided to add more media to packages that they deliver to churches. Here's my chat with John. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Hales in the house right here. Man, I am so humbled. It's like talking to a celebrity. I'm just so shocked that I'm getting to talk to you today.
You're ridiculous. That's hilarious.
Man, I thank you for the time. Really appreciate it, buddy. So tell folks a little, I know I did a little introduction to you leading into this segment, but tell folks how long you've been on staff at Assemblies of God and a little bit about your role there.
Yeah, really since 2018, so about 5 or 6 years now. When I came over, I worked in the Children's Ministry Department, overseeing some different curriculum, really doing a lot of training in the field. But over the last 2 years, transitioned to the publishing side for the Assemblies of God and really loved engaging in resources. So I'm a ministry guy. I used to be a pastor, a children's pastor, but I love creating resources. I don't know, to me, it makes a big difference. They're powerful tools when they're used right. They can really shift culture within the church and really they make a big difference even for the reputation of an organization. So when you think about the Assemblies of God, we're over 100 year, you've got this long history. Yeah. And it's kind of cool to be able to, even today, steer that reputation a little bit with the resources we've created.
So we connected a few years ago and just shared meals together, all kinds of stuff. And man, I really appreciate your friendship. And you guys, we kind of connected on Mega Sports Camp is what you guys are have been working on. I know that is that the main thing you work on? You work on other projects as well too, right? No, so that's a great question. So I oversee all of our product development. So that includes books, resources, and then some of our curriculum pieces too. But yeah, Mega Sports Camp has this great 20-year history, right? It's really the first sports-based VBS back in the beginning, way before my time.
The Assemblies of God partnered with a great organization in the field who was kind of leading the way and doing traveling sports camps for churches.
Mm.
And we kind of dreamed together to create this great resource. And the aim of it really was like a VBS that engages sports and faith, right? So I always say it's a VBS with a twist. Like the twist is, hey, you still do the great services, you still do the great concepts, but it's really aimed for the unbeliever, the unchurched kid who loves sports, who loves to learn. We live in a culture right now where parents want their kids to learn skills, right? Like education is a big deal. And so this idea of bringing your kids to a sports camp, but really the gospel's weaving through it throughout the whole week, just like a regular VBS. And for people like me that don't like crafts, that works kind of well for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, nice. So is it all outside? There's some elements inside. How does it work?
No, it's great. Yeah. I mean, really, ultimately, it's kind of flexible for your situation. So we kind of say, really think about your church context and the space you've got is what works. Some places will do it in just an open outdoor field, a local park. Others might have a gymnasium. Some don't have any of that, and they use the parking lot. So the idea would be is rather than having rotations that kids go through, kids sign up for a track. So they might sign up for soccer in the outdoor field, or basketball on the parking lot, or cheerleading in your auditorium. And basically the kids learn that skill throughout the week while attending fun rallies, just like they would in a VBS.
So you guys had maybe a desire a couple years ago or recently to really kind of up the visual media component of sports camp, which you might not think of, I guess, maybe because I'm not inside, I'm not watching a lot of media on screen, but maybe kind of talk me through how you guys were thinking through the visual media component of the packaging, the look, the elements within. Kind of walk me through that.
Yeah, I think, when a program is 20 years old, I think it had a lot of great features, a lot of great pieces, but maybe at times hadn't really moved with the culture. It'd grown in popularity. It'd been a great, strong program, but in some ways it found its roots as kind of being the anti-VBS, right? So it was almost like we're the opposite of VBS. They do crafts and we do sports. I think the marketing was almost a bit like that, and really, maybe at times had kind of lost the fun factor in some of its look and feel and design. And I think really, like when I joined the team a couple of years ago, and my process of evaluating was, hey, why are we fighting against this market? Like, people love VBS for the theme. They love it for like the great visuals, the fun look and appeal for the kids. And so rather than necessarily trying to fight that and just stay hardcore sports, my heart was, why don't we embrace a bit of that? And kind of use that as a way to engage children, but also re-engage some different churches.
So our team has been connected with you guys for a year or two, and helped. I want to kind of talk through a case study of Blaze a Trail. So you guys reached out to us to help you with Blaze a Trail, and man, I love how this one came out. It is really cool. But kind of let's walk through that process. What were you thinking as far as the elements that we want, the pieces and components that we need, the look and feel, the creative direction? Kind of walk me through that process.
Yeah. So I think, well, firstly, we approach church visuals because we've worked with a lot of great designers in our history, a lot of great people. What I really felt like was there's a lot of great designers, but there's not many great designers who know the kids space, right? And who know the children's ministry space, right? And so we approach you because you guys have such a rich history of that. And so for me, that was a big piece of this. Like, I knew what you guys had to offer in that really our process is starting with a theme image, and really kind of building from there. I wish I could say like, man, we're super intentional from the front end and we've got a 5-year strategy with our visuals of how we want to go. So I'd be wrong to say we did. But I think what we started in this first year with Blaze a Trail was really kind of dipping our toe in the water and figuring out, okay, what does this look like? Almost let this first year kind of shine a light on the things that we're missing, that were kind of confusing, right? And I think it's done that. I think it's been a really good theme for us.
So I want people to check it out. Megasportscamp.com is the website. Be sure to really check it out. The way that you guys have laid out the website is really user friendly. It's easy to understand. I can easily sign up and get what I need. You guys have really done a great job with that. The look is incorporated throughout. It looks really cool. What's been some of the response from this year's VBS? What are the churches saying? What are some feelers and things that you've
well,
heard
it's always so weird for a VBS company, firstly, because you produce stuff like a year in advance, right?
Right.
And so right now, people are still gearing up to use it.
Right.
Really, but generally, really good response. We had a lot of positivity on our Facebook channels. I mean, we're trying to have personal conversations with the people in the field. What I think people love is it gives some more options. So we are a sports camp, but people like to engage different skills. And so some kids don't love sports. So we have some people who will host drama or, cooking or different things like that. And so we've had a really great response because this theme kind of broadens it a little bit, gives the church a little bit more freedom and flexibility. It's really fun, engaging. One of the things that we've been able to do is really dial in on, like, here's some great decoration ideas, stuff we've never done in the past that's so core to VBS.
Right.
Like, so the response has been really positive because people can say, oh, I could recreate that. That makes sense to me. And you pick up on small little things again. It's cool for me. I love kind of approving people to join the Facebook group. Right. And to me, that's like, great. There's new people. There's a buzz. People want to kind of learn more. They want to connect about things. So from that aspect, it's been great.
So let's kind of walk through the Blaze Trail design a little bit. And I think you in mentioning decorations, I love the fact that in this design, there's a lot to work with.
Yeah.
I think it's simple in its approach, but also gives so many elements of trees and nature elements and bright colors and things like that a church can pull out and for decoration and other things, flashlights and like I'm catching things in the design that, like, okay, that's easy. I can just get a flashlights or a campfire or like those things come to mind very quickly if I'm a kids leader. Kind of walk me through that from a design standpoint.
Yeah, well, firstly, it is a very simple design, and that works really well for decorations. We recreated some of those pieces, and they look really accurate to the picture, simply because it's simple, easy to use design. When you think about kind of VBS, typically, I mean, the logo is like the big deal, and that logo goes everywhere. It goes on all the products that goes out, and so the branding of that logo, I love that with Blaze Trail. It really clearly communicates the whole theme, even when you remove it from the background. Because you kind of see that compass and you kind of see that feel. And so that's really important there. Bright, like engaging, vibrant. And again, like you said, there's tons of great elements you could just pluck and play out and put into action in different pieces. Really, it's been a really great theme for us.
So from a general question, what the visual components of a VBS or even other resources that you guys provide? I guess what I'm asking is do we judge a book by its cover? Or do the visuals really make a difference in the impact of how you sell the product, what impact it's making in churches?
Yeah, it's so funny, the VBS, large VBS companies, you read their websites and it's like, you shouldn't pick a VBS based off the theme. You should pick the values of a curriculum. But really, a lot of these VBS curriculums are very similar, right? And ultimately, when you're a church pastor, you're not going to use the full extent of these programs anyway. You're taking them, adapting them. And so I think the theme and the visuals are everything, right? Like for most churches, it's what they can't reproduce themselves. For the kids attending, it sets the environment, sets the expectation. And we're finding our way. We're figuring out what it looks like to be a sports camp and a themed product too, because, churches, what's the first thing they do to advertise their VBS? They put a banner outside, right? And it's like, as you drive past, if it catches people's attention or not, that's the deal breaker. And so we're very aware of, like, there's the initial buy of when a children's pastor purchases from the website, what they see when they're comparing all the different themes. But then there's also that secondary buy of, like, hey, does this engage children and families too? And so, we've had some misses in the past, just like a lot of other VBS companies. And so we're glad about the direction we're on.
Man, I think you bring up a good point in that and we try to stress this a lot, is that the visual, we can make it look great, but the visuals are a tool for life change to happen.
Right.
So that's not the end goal, just to look cool.
Right.
You can get any designer to do that. It's how can we craft this in such a way that can draw, in your case, kids in, so that we can share the gospel with them, so that their lives change, so that salvation and discipleship happens.
And we're going for an audience like that are unchurched. That really gets me with VBS. Like, we're not trying to reach church families. Church families might put up with poor quality when it comes to design, right? Some may. I think it's becoming less and less. But really, I know unchurched people, right? Then they're not limiting their media content to the same degree. They're not curating. They're not just sticking to Christian apps. They're on all kind of apps. And so we got to be competitive with the way we look. There's got to be an element of, like, I don't know, like, we're asking that unchurched family to trust us. And so, like, the quality of what we put out is going to be the first step of them feeling like they can trust what we do, right? I think there's an element to that. And that's all the journey of salvation. I think that the visuals are a part of that.
Okay, reverse that for me. If the visuals are awful, or even just subpar, or even like, oh, I can kind of tell that they probably did that themselves, what does that communicate to?
Irrelevancy. I mean, do you know what I mean? Do you not think, like, you're driving past and you see a thing that feels just so out of touch with life? And I think that's going to be interesting in the next 10 years. Like, how the theming changing, how does all that change? Like, because I do think there's a part of that, where kids, families, they're going to look at that and feel irrelevant or just sloppy, right? Like, just like, oh, it just looks sloppy, and therefore, is that really something I want to trust my kids with? We're in this season where parents want their kids to excel. They want to set their kids up for success in the future. They want to get them on travel teams. They want to do all this kind of stuff. So especially for us, like, they want their kids to excel in sports. So what we're communicating is, are we a solid program? Are we an option for them? And the visuals, subtly, I would say, it may not be conscious, but unconsciously make a big difference.
That's another great point, that I think that even kids, they probably can't tell you what to do to fix something or what's wrong with something. They can just tell subconsciously that that looks a whole lot better, cooler, whatever their description would be than that. So I think a lot of it's subconscious.
Yes. And with VBS, it's like, hey, you got to get kids coming back 5 days. Like, they've got to be excited to make it through the week. They got to feel like this relates to them. And so it is a challenge, but I do think strong visuals, and even, VBS is such a traditional market. Like, you open these VBS boxes for a large chunk of the VBSs, you've still got CDs in there, like, you've still got some pieces there that you're thinking, like, wow, and so, I think the market is slow to move and adapt. It's got a rich history. So there's some movers and shakers, but I think generally we got to move more that way to be more media rich.
So as far as that media rich, visually rich curriculum, has that changed quite a bit from you guys from previous versions of your VBS?
Yeah, I think so. And we're still learning what that looks like. I think, I look at some of the stuff that comes in our VBS, and transparently would say, hey, we're in a process where over the next few years, the challenges programs to create are expensive, videos are expensive, certain pieces. And so you're budgeting to say, okay, here's budget for growth, and here's some updates that we know need to happen. But definitely, I think I only see more of the the need for bumpers and those kind of engaging kind of videos.
Right.
It's only going to increase.
You guys have at Assemblies of God, at Mega Sports Camp, you guys have chosen to pour some investment into upping the visual game on your VBS. Why? Is it worth that investment to your organization?
That's a great question. In some ways, part of you is like, well, time will tell. A part of me knows instinctively, yes, it's worth it, right? Like, I know the way that kids are becoming more visual. Their like culture is pushing them that way. I feel like so from that point of view, it's worth it. The challenge for us is figuring out where's it worth it. Is it better on spending more money on more slides? Is it better to spend more money on more songs, media like that, and creative videos through song, our curriculum videos? And so we're in that season of where really figuring out what is that best use. But really, to be honest, it's got to improve across the whole board, right? Like, just the world is changing, and if we don't embrace that change, I just don't see much of a future for that kind of curriculum.
So I've been using the kind of like McDonald's versus Chick-fil-A example, where does Chick-fil-A cost a few more dollars for the sandwich? Yeah, right. It's going to be an $8 sandwich as opposed to maybe a $3 or $4 sandwich. Depending on what you get at McDonald's. Why am I choosing to purchase the Chick-fil-A sandwich and spend more money? Well, I know that it's going to taste better. Yeah. I know that you were going to say something?
No, yeah. I mean, I see where you're coming from. And to us, I mentioned earlier, we have some great designers we've worked with in the past. What I've found with working with other designers on products like this is I'm working in a vacuum, in the sense of they're not really able to feed back. They're not giving me like, oh, well, here's the children's ministry world. Did you see what Orange did last year? Did you see what Group did? People that know the market who can, and I think that's been a big value working with you guys is, it may be a tad more expensive. To be honest, I don't know really comparatively if it has been that much more expensive.
We're very competitive in that.
But the benefit has been, I don't feel like I'm producing this stuff in a vacuum. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so in past years, I've released themes and I thought, man, that's going to be killer, right? But then I realized, well, actually, I was just doing that in a bit of a vacuum or with an inward team that really, and I've benefited from the outward kind of approach, this idea of people who know the market. I can trust what you guys give. Yeah, I can push back, and you've been very receptive to that. But to me, that's been part of the value of spending more.
So I think, too, with this McDonald's Chick-fil-A example, like you could, in theory, take ready-made content and kind of tweak it and make it work for VBS.
Yeah.
But you're choosing to spend more money to create it custom for you because you're trying to hit this specific theme. Like I guess I should ask you in the form of a question there. Why have you chosen to build it custom from scratch as opposed to trying to tweak what's already there?
It's a great question. Sometimes you maybe feel like it would be difficult to take ready-made stuff, but I would also say, everybody's trying to be. I think one of the interesting things with VBS as well is, I would say, becoming unique, finding your place. Like, what's your style? What's your fit? The ready-made aspect is good. There's a benefit for that for a lot of churches. But I think for us, we're trying to find, like, what's our style? What's our stream? When people look at Mega Sports Camp year to year, what is that? What are we known for? And I think the custom gives us that ability to kind of each year kind of keep some pieces that kind of weave together. I always say, like, if you look at an Orange VBS year to year, it kind of feels like a family of themes. Does that make sense? Even though they're wildly different, Lifeway, Group, they all have kind of similar things. And I think even if I was a church, there's a part of me, and I was a church creating my own VBS, I'd almost want to find my spot in the market. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like, one of the weird things about VBS generally is some of these large ones is you drive through town and you see 3 or 4 churches doing the same one. And I think the benefit of custom media is you do just kind of position yourself as a little bit different, set apart.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, in that we've had some larger churches come to us
Yeah.
and say, we're going to try this year to build our own, or we're going to try
Great
this
idea.
year to,
Yeah.
and make it from scratch. And I think that there is a wave of that, of like,
For sure.
do we want to create it on our own? And I think that's true for you guys, in that a lot of churches are using this, and so by doing custom, you're getting a message, you're dialing that message into the bullseye.
And I would say, like, your location, your locality. I think, again, you can use VBSs to fit in. They're built to be generic. But I would say there's something valuable for those churches that can afford it, that want to kind of say, hey, we know our church. We want to do more of a custom program anyway to fit the values of our church, the goals of our church. Why not?
Good.
Why not?
All right, let me land on this question. Just a general, why do visuals matter in general to kids, of all ages?
It's a great question. It's a broad question. If I looked at kids as my side, or who I kind of have looked at in the past, I would say it's how they learn. So it's what engages them, it holds their attention. We're fighting for people's attention all the time. I think that's true for adults as well. So there is an element there of visuals, but just the world is just changing so fast, and it's like, I think visuals communicate so much more than just, oh, here's a cool thing on the screen. It just, I don't know, to me, culture is brought into that. Like, there's so much. I don't know. I'm probably not answering that very well, but I just see a great value for it. Yeah.
It's interesting to think about that. Like, even on our sermons on Sunday mornings, like, it's a 30, 45 minute sermon where I'm sitting listening to you talk, and where if a picture is worth 1,000 words, why do we talk? We talk a lot.
Yes.
Not that you can't talk. I'm just saying, if you showed it to me also, and engaged those senses, I might be retaining that information.
Massively.
Better.
Massively. Yeah.
Well,
I think,
tell folks how they can, I said the website, megasportscamp.com, but tell people how they can purchase, how they can use the VBS in their church.
Yeah, well, our curriculum companies, or our publishing companies, My Healthy Church, so myhealthychurch.com, or you can go to megasportscamp.com and purchase through that. Give us a try. If you've got questions, feel free to reach out. I don't mind giving my contact information. But
awesome. Well, John, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate your time, and you guys are doing great work for the kingdom. Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
What's up, guys? I'm Stallion, and I'm our training content manager. That's right, I help oversee all of our podcasts, courses, articles, and webinars that we offer on our church visual site totally for free for you ministry leaders. Check out our website at churchvisuals.com/training.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our Church Visuals YouTube channel for more free content. As we close this week, here's your Church Visuals tip of the week. Adding more media content to your church's offerings could make a bigger impact. The team at Assemblies of God have seen that. They're adding more graphics, more video, more visual media, even to a sports camp, and it's making a difference. If you want to reach the people you want to reach for Jesus, your visuals matter. I'll see you next week. Your Visuals Matter has been a podcast presentation of Church Visuals. Executive produced by Carl Barnhill, edited by AJ Schubert, title and show graphics by Angie Lomas. For more resources to help you visually communicate the gospel, visit churchvisuals.com.